Good evening and welcome to your 2051 Perfect League World Series. I'm your host, DRC. I am also your participant this evening. I will be half of the World Series matchup. I'm going to do my best to multitask tonight. And I'm freaking nervous. Oh, boy. I've got some nerves working right now. Don't know who I'm going to play yet. I've written down what my strategies would be depending upon who the opponent is. I do have a strong preference for one of the teams. I won't share who that is. And honestly, it has more to do with my team than theirs, or what I think of the owner. I think the other two owners are perfectly good owners. But we're 3 minutes away from potentially knowing our matchup. Valley Cats and the Cheaters trying to settle their score. Valley Cats have had a lot to say on the Discord today, and I always welcome a new persona on the Discord, so I'd love to see that. But how are you guys doing tonight? How do you guys feel about Nomad Nation's chances to get that first bite at the apple? I guess I already had a bite at the apple and I lost. I faced Maine Whiskey Tango. How many weeks ago was it? It'd be hard to tell from here. But I faced Maine Whiskey Tango in the World Series in 2047 or 2488 or so, and came away a loser in 6. So we're looking to get a second bite at the apple, and the first time actually getting to enjoy the whole thing. Yeah, while we're waiting for my opponent to be known, we can look at my season. So who were the Nomads this week? What did they do? First thing to take a look at is runs scored. 751, which puts me on the lower half of the National Conference. So just below the median there. However, on run prevention, number 1 in the league. So 751 minus 632. You've got a 100-plus run differential there. Not bad at all. As you look at the split between starter ERA and bullpen ERA, second and third in the league, respectively. Good for the number 1 ERA in the league. So I feel pretty happy with the season. It broke down kind of oddly. I was absolutely dominant at home, winning 2/3 of my games, and couldn't buy a bucket on the road. Had some real rough stretches. I think I had 2 7-game losing streaks this year. Let's see if we can find them. Here we go. So that would be 8. So 8-game losing streak in June. And then here's a 6er. So maybe I didn't have 2 7s. But an 8 and a 6 within the same season. Not fun to endure. I got swept at home by DLL comrade, the Timberwolves, which was no fun either. Jedi showing me how hard it is to play in Brookfield. And then as you look at my month-to-month here, it was really uneven. So dominant April, 18-8. Very good May. Train wreck June, 9-18. Up and down July, 14 and 13. Dominant August again. And then up and down September. So who the heck is this team? And do they belong to be here? As far as the players that I deployed, this was honestly the most static that I've kept my team in a very long time. And I attribute that at least partly to a raging debate in the DLL Discord with Free Dave Brown about active management of your roster and whether that's a fool's errand or whether there's some value in that. I did not tinker much this year. I don't think any of these guys were swapped out at any point in time. I just kind of rolled it, stayed with it. And it didn't work out too poorly. Now, as you look at the hitters' OPSs on my team, they stink. But that's what you get when you play in the park that I play in. So you get a Roger Connor with a sub 700 OPS. You get a Hank Aaron sub 700. A Willie Mays flirting with a 500 OPS. And Ricky Henderson, which you don't even care to look at. That's just kind of par for the course. You know, this strategy, the way that I play, the way that I align, is not to score runs. It's to stop the other team from scoring runs. As far as some of the choices that I've made in terms of offensive players, I go Ozzie every day at short. I do go Griffey over Mays versus right. I go Appling at second over Jackie. Oh boy, we've got our matchup. It's Valley Cats and Nomads. So let me transcribe over to my battle plans here what I'm doing. Oh man, I'm excited. I am excited. Let's see if we got a dead sim here. I'm guessing we normally do. So no game today, yes, a game tomorrow. So we've got a lot of talk time left. So it's a November World Series. All right, so let's take a look at the path that I took to get here. So round one lined up with Tech and his Hammerheads and was fortunate enough to win that one in 4. As we look at the individual games, we had a tight game 1 that the Hammerheads took from me 3-1. Game 2, I came out and had some fireworks, winning 11-2. And then 2 one-run victories in games 3 and 4. And as Tech is indicating in the chat, Trevor Hoffman had a lot to do with these losses. If you look here, Trevor Hoffman gave up a 3-run jack. 3-run walk-off to pinch hitter Ken Griffey Jr. Take a look at that win expectancy chart. So I was watching this one with scores hidden, watching the highlights, and when I saw Griffey check into the game, who was he pinch hitting for? Campanella. I was like, okay, let's keep the game alive. Get a little base hit here, maybe even clear the bases and tie it up. And when he jacked that, I jumped out of my chair. Ran around the room, hoping for some more of those moments in the World Series. But so that was game 4. And so this gave me the 2-1 series lead, and Hoffman wasn't done. That was game 3, to give me the 2-1 series lead. And then in game 4, Hoffman up to his old tricks. So the game was right there. They had a 2-1 lead in the 9th. And Hoffman gives up a run-scoring single to Rogers Hornsby to tie the game and push it into extras. Pushed it into extras, and eventually the bullpen caved. Feller did a good job of hiding 5 walks without giving up a run, but then Jose Fernandez is who was responsible for the final run, even though Satchel Paige was the one who gave it up to Ty Cobb, single in the 14th. And so that put away the Hammerheads, a series that could have easily gone the other way. And then we moved on to the Time Lords. Recent Perfect League champion Time Lord. And in this one, I was able to grab a 2-0 lead with a couple tight games. We see some active, played it straight. So Pettit versus Price straight in game 1. Glavin versus Hahn straight in game 2. Spawn versus Spawn straight in game 3. So Time Lords and I, similar ballparks, preferring to have lefties on the mound. I actually bought Andy Pettit for this game. So the prior series had knocked out my availability for Glavin or Spawn, and I really wanted to start this series with a lefty. And so I knew someone who was selling Pettit, hat tip to you, and I got in touch with him right after I won the first round, and I said, hey, I need Pettit, and I need him in a hurry. And we negotiated a good price, made the purchase, and I believe I locked him into my lineup with about 90 seconds to spare. So the seller of that Pettit gets at least 50% credit for this game victory here. So it goes Nomads, and then the Time Lords win game 3. And then I was able to take game 4. And then the Nomads push it to 6. We saw our second instance of Pettit here. Pettit didn't have quite the same juice the second time around as he got beat up. Couldn't get through 5. But then I was able to finish it off in 6 with a clean 8-0 victory, backed by Tom Glavin just going lights out. And Tech 15's bringing up another team to perfect next week. Congrats. Good job. That is pretty good. Yeah, any other Diamond League champs in the chat? Anyone bringing some teams up? Got to know who the fresh blood is. Who's the fresh blood? 8 minutes till dead sim. So let's take a quick peek at the history of the Naperville Nomads. So we can focus on the recent history in a moment, but first let's take a peek in the Wayback Machine. So I use the live missions to fuel my team just like everyone else did, just like most people did. Had to stay over in gold as I wasn't able to get promoted in my first chance there, and then got into diamond. Made some playoffs in diamond, and then in my benevolent wisdom, decided to join DLL, making it a lot harder on myself. And so then I instead of making the playoffs most seasons, I went to not making the playoffs at all. Here's a 6-season stretch here where I made the playoffs one time. And then I finally busted through, got lucky, and I swear to you, this season here, I remember it. I got extremely lucky. In no way, shape, or form did I deserve to win this DLL title here. Got to Perfect League with a team that wasn't anywhere near ready. And then was trounced, murdered, sent back to Diamond, unceremoniously. But after a couple more seasons in DLL, I was able to luck out, win another title. And this particular DLL title was a Game 7 win against Doc Fury. Series that could have easily gone either way. And if I lose that game, who knows? Maybe I'm still not imperfect. Winning in DLL is darn near impossible. But I've gotten lucky twice, and because of it, I've gotten to spend the last 7 weeks in perfect. And in those 7 weeks, I've made the playoffs each year. Wins ranging from 84 to 99. This is my second time making it to the World Series. First time I got bounced by Maine Whiskey Tango as they won their first title in 6. I made some serious mistakes in that World Series that I hope to not repeat this time around. I messed up a pseudo where my follower had a batter count on him from a previous deployment. I'm not going to let that happen again. So let's take a look at the Valley Cats now. What's their story besides being nice and loud in the Perfect League chat this week? Not really this week, today. So Valley Cats, they started with the Sloths. The Newton Sloths. I'm going to just peek at them real quick so you guys can see how impressive this resume is. So the Sloths make the playoffs every year. They got to perfect as fast as you can, going level by level, and then got bumped from perfect after 3 seasons, immediately won a Diamond League. Made 3 more perfect playoffs, got bumped from perfect. And again, look at what the records are getting bumped with. 84 and 78, 82 and 80. Still very good seasons. Goes down to Diamond, pops right back up. And then has been in the playoffs each of the last 6 seasons now. So extremely successful team in the Newton Sloths. And they started late. Yep. So enough about the Sloths. So the Valley Cats take care of them in 4. Let's go see if there's anything wonky going on in that series. Newton Sloths and the Valley Cats. So Sloths won game 1, 4-1, and then lost a 1-run ball game. Game 2. Some pretty wild win expectancy chart there. 4-run 8th propelled the Valley Cats. Then a pretty resounding 9-5 win in game 3. And then they sent the Sloths packing with a 4-2 win in game 4. Pretty tight until some more 8th inning runs. So Vic is asking if I'm shutting my stream off in between games. I won't be shutting my stream off, but what you'll see is you will see this screen right here. If I'm doing anything tricky, if I don't want to reveal anything as far as tactics that I'm deploying, you'll see this screen until I've got my team set as I want it, and then we'll go back in. So they move past the Sloths in round 1, go to round 2, sweep over the Ropraz Bulls. And this is really when we saw the chatter in the Perfect League Discord channel really start to pick up. There was some cookie-related humor directed at the Ropraz Bulls and their owner, who goes by the handle of Cookie. And this series was not very close. So 4-1 game 1. No huge swings there. 7-3 game 2. No swings there. 4-1 game 3. And then an 11-1 game 4. So just a thorough beating of the Valley Cats to the Bulls in that sweep. That's the way the cookie crumbles. And then in the CS, they run up against Fair Play Cheaters. Fair Play Cheaters have been to a World Series themselves. Just making sure I'm not asleep at the wheel here and about to miss game 1 sim. We are good. And let's see how this one went. So Hawksview gets up 2-0. The Cheaters even it 2-2. It's a pretty close game. Let's see if there was a swing. Ooh, look at the Valley Cats. We're seeing a trend here. Lots of 8th and 9th inning runs. Lots of 8th and 9th inning runs. Cheaters win game 3 and 4 pretty convincingly, but then the Valley Cats win that pivotal game 5, 8-3. Not needing late inning runs. And then send the Cheaters packing 6-2 and 6. Let's take a quick peek at how Hawksview's running that rotation. So we got a Maddox straight start. Pedro straight start. Seaver straight start where he got bombed. Spawn straight start where he got bombed. And when I say straight start, I mean just deployed traditionally. No funny business with pitch counts or anything. So who is going to win, guys? Who is taking this one? Is it the loud Valley Cats or Nomad Nation? I need to get that Valley Cat logo so we can have it up on the screen. Pardon our progress here as I get this all set up. Chuck's on Team Nomads. Love to see it, Chuck. Love the support, as always. There we go. Valley Cat's logo should be up. Why can't I see it? Something's funky there. We're going to try a different way to get it up as we sim through our dead sim. Yeah, you know, I've been complaining for weeks about the dreaded long sim. And Chalk, thank you so much for yet another gifted sub here. This one going to Hip and Knee Doc. You are our resident Santa Claus for a reason, and it's very much appreciated. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There we go. Now we've got the Valley Cats on the screen. Now we've got it. Now you guys can see it. We'll just shrink that down a touch. And Chuck is at it again, this time going to cubed. Thanks again, man. Chuck is a one-man hype train. So Vic wants to see some lineups. Let's check them out real quick before I have to hide from you and let you know, or go ahead and deploy for game one. So here's my VR. So we've got two same-side hitters, Hornsby and Appling, starting off with 4 lefties. Griffey in over Mays, as I told you before, and then Ozzy manning that 9 spot. And then my VL in my last series, it was alternating. So LR, 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 LR. I think that's a reference to a movie or a show or something. I feel like I've heard that before. But anyways, this is not my standard VL lineup. This was something that I deployed for my last opponent, likely to change for this series. And then let's jump over to the Alley Cats. Hawks View, Alley Cats. So VR. VR, we've got 3 same-side hitters. We start off with Jackie. Hornsby, Mays, Smith, and Lloyd. So going very D-heavy in the middle. The VL lineup. 2 lefties. 7 righties. 6 righties. And then switch Ozzy. So Kidneys wins his 4th gold. Can he trade 5 gold titles for a diamond? I don't know what the conversion rate is. You'd have to check with Chris on that. All right, so this series is starting in Hawks View. What is their stadium like? Their stadium is it's a depressed offense one, but not extremely depressed. So you see just a little bit taken out of the XPH, doubles and triples, and you see a little bit more taken out of the homers, but pretty neutral where extra base hits fall off just a touch. All right, we are going to go stealth mode, and I'm going to line up my lineup. Line up my lineup. Luke with a gift bomb. 5 tier 1 subs. Going out to Tom Budd, Firebird, Quanta, JM Roto, Michael Vick. Thanks so much, Luke. You're the best, man. Let's get this guy where he needs to be. That guy where he needs to be. Set that where it needs to go. And now I'm shifting over to my lineup as I've got my rotation the way I want it. And who do we have in game 1? What pitchers do we have? So I'm showing David Price, and Hawks View is showing Warren Spahn. So what lineup do I want to run out against Warren Spahn in this mostly neutral, slightly depressed XPH park? That is thy question. So making some decisions over here, moving some things around. This feels like a winning combo. We're going to set that. And I think we are ready for game one. Would love to start off with a W. Love to start off with a W. Yeah, congrats on that star, Michael Vick. Now you look really important. I'm wearing my Mickey Mouse shirt for a little luck today. We'll see if it pays off. We will see if it pays off. Gotta check one thing real quick. One thing. Try to not be in the habit of doing this. All right, as far as pitching goes, my entire rotation, my entire bullpen, everybody is 100% across the board, which is exactly where you want to be coming into this. M-Dub, look at you, man. 5 more gifted subs going out. Thanks so much, man. Really appreciate that. Really feeling the love. Feeling the love right now. Hype train level 4. These 5 subs going out to AHL Scout, J. Lee New Era, Aster 31, Waddy Waddy Waddy, and McDavid 08. All right, I am going to make a change here in the rotation. So I think I shared a couple moments ago that I picked up Pettit in this playoff series. I was facing Jay Mallett, and he and I both run the lefty cheese parks, where you often prefer to have a lefty on the mound, and I didn't have one rested. And so I picked him up, and now adding him to the mix has layered in some new options as far as how to deploy my existing players. And so that new level of freedom, I'll say, hasn't thrown me for a loop, but it's given me more options than I typically have. And Chuck with a gift bomb himself. 5 more subs going out there. OMG Puppies, Polycarp, JZ13, Extreme UW, Ready to Foe. Welcome to the Nomad Nations, my friend. I'm hoping that we find a W tonight. I really am. And what better way than to win game 1? Get off to a good start. So for anyone new, you see that thing on the right side of your screen called the Matchup Analyzer. And we are at level 5 hype train right now. Keep that in mind. Level 5 hype train for the next 4 minutes. Really appreciate all the support, guys. You guys are amazing and make this so much more fun than it would be otherwise. Back to the Matchup Analyzer. So what does this thing do? What this is, and I actually need to update my averages because I've got new data in here. So what this thing does here is it tells you what these pitchers and what these hitters do within Perfect League. Hey, thanks so much, Death Deal. Loving the support, buddy. And so, while we are waiting 5 minutes here, we can give this thing a test drive. How about first person in the chat to suggest a matchup gets it up here? Someone suggest a matchup. Pitcher and hitter. Price versus Pop. My favorite one to show. I was actually watching our series with Jay Mallett. I think it was a series with Jay Mallett, but I'm quite sure that Pop got a single off David Price. Whenever they're showing that highlight, I'm like, why are you even showing this? Nothing good can happen here. But of course it did. All right, so here's how you read this. This is David Price. And then down here in this row 22, you can see what split we're looking at. So in this instance, we're looking at how good he is versus left-hand batters. And then we drop down to the hitter. And we've got Pop Lloyd. What split is that? How good is he versus left-hand pitching? And as you see in this instance, Price is absolutely dominant against left-hand batters. And green is good, red is bad. And Pop Lloyd is a devastating train wreck versus left-hand pitching. 242 on base percentage. Holy cow, how do you even get that low? 242 on base? That's incredible. I think that stands out more than the 270 slug. Oh gosh, that's so horrible. All right, Pettit versus Cobb. I don't know if Pettit is going to have enough volume to fit in here. I'm not sure what I have. Hey, it's there. So Pettit versus left, and then Mr. Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb versus left. So this Pettit number, I would almost go as far as to say to throw this out entirely. Look, it's 12 innings. I've got 12 innings of Andy Pettit versus left. So do not make any big decisions. Do not make any big decisions off of what you see for Andy Pettit in any way, shape, or form on my matchup analyzer here. The sample size is way too small. But Ty Cobb, on the other hand, I've got 22,000 plate appearances of his that says that he's a 748 OPS hitter, slightly below water versus left. Let's get Tommy G. My goodness, my Tom Glavine was good this year. I'm in love with my Tom Glavine. So Tom Glavine versus left, got 419 of these innings. And they're very good innings. 317 FIP. The thing with Glavine that stands out is he's a really good with whip. His whip is almost always right in this neighborhood. I mean, even his whip VR, I want to check it just for my benefit here. His whip VR is 127. And in the pantheon of left-hand pitchers, that's pretty good. 127 is really good. And so with Glavine, you don't have a ton of people on base. And I've always kind of been a bit of a whip aficionado. I don't know. That's not the right word for it. I was going to say something else, but let's keep it PG-13. I love my pitchers to have low whip. I love there to be few people on base as possible. And so depending on the situation, I don't just look at FIP and I don't just look at whip. I contextualize the two together. But I definitely prefer low whip to high whip if we have equal FIP. We just unlocked a level 4 hype train emote. Let's go ahead and get that out there. Well done, guys. Let's check out some Lefty Grove while we're at it. 90 seconds to the sim. All right, the way we're going to do this today is as follows. Lefty Grove is hard because there's so many SEs. I might pick the wrong one. It's probably just going to be the best one, so it's probably this one. Yeah, so here's your Lefty Grove. So 369 on the FIP, 128 on the whip. For a lefty to be 128 versus strong side is not great. As we toggle over to his VR, it's not very pretty. All right, so here's how we're going to do this, guys. Once the sim comes in, I'm going to make my changes for game 2. That shouldn't take me any more than a couple of minutes. And then after we see those changes, or after I put those changes in, we will watch the highlights. And this way, I don't have to rush through highlights, and we can get to enjoy the play-by-play, or at least try to. I will forewarn you. I will forewarn everyone within the chat. This will be my worst broadcast I've ever had. And I've got 3 reasons why. First reason is I'm going to be distracted. I really want to win. I am dying to win this thing. And so at any given point in time, I'm probably thinking about something else versus whatever's coming out of my mouth. Second reason, I will be making adjustments, so I won't have as much time to just revel in each given highlight and enjoy each given highlight. And thirdly, this will be the most biased broadcast you have ever listened to. If you thought your hometown broadcast was bad, if you thought they were unabashedly favoring their team, just wait till you see what happens tonight. This will not be fair. It will not be balanced. I will be unabashedly rooting for the Dingers for my guys. And Baccarat Boy's got a point. I got to keep selling stuff on the AH. How am I going to buy the next Petit if I'm not churning some cards here? Oh man, I do have a couple of new sounds that made my deck as of this week in Perfect team. We've got Fireworks for Good Things. Give you a little sample of that right now. So hopefully we get to break this out a good bit. Let me know if that's too loud. And then we've got this for when things don't go quite as well. All right, downloading Sim. Sim's going to load. I'm going to make my changes for game 2, and then we're going to watch game 1. Whew. A little nervous here. Trying to calm it down. Calm it down. Let's hide this. Let's get the guys where they need to be. All right, that's looking good. And I just need to check which pitcher I'm facing in game 2, or at least scheduled to face. All right, looking good, looking good. Might need to make another change after we see who ended up going in game 1, but we'll just have to wait and see on that. All right, so I'm scheduled to face Tom Seaver in game 2. All right, we are good there. Let's come back. Let's show the screen. Let's jump into some highlights, and let's win game 1. Here we go. Warren Spahn on the hill for the bad guys, the Valley Cats, the orange bad guys here on the road. Facing my Rogers Hornsby to lead off the game. Hornsby going to do something good here. You just know it. Full count. Come on, Rogers. Start off this World Series with a bang. Oh, no. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. 1 away. Next batter, though, we got a highlight for Ty Cobb. What's he going to do? Winding the pitch. He cranks that one. Left field. See you later. We're on the board. Woo! Ty Cobb with an Oppo Taco in the top of the first to game 1. Goosebumps, baby. If you're not feeling it, you're not alive. Pedro Martinez on for the Nomads here in the second. Facing a Joe DiMaggio. 1-2 count on him. Pedro to Joe. There's a fly ball. Deep left center. Get down, ball. Get down. No! Oh, my goodness. That firework sounded louder than normal. And that ties the game. We go bottom 5. Another highlight for the Valley Cats. Cobb on second. DiMaggio. Trouble DiMaggio at the plate. Does he have fire? Doesn't have fire yet, but I'm scared. 1-2 count. Come on, Pedro. Uh-oh. Splits the gap in left center. That's going to give the Valley Cats the lead. Cobb will come around to score. And Joe is into second with a sliding double. And the Valley Cats take a lead here in game 1. We go top 6. Time for the good guys to get back in the saddle. We're going to start off with Spahn versus Hornsby. And I just feel compelled. I feel compelled. It's time to go to the matchup analyzer. It's just time. Spahn, face of the franchise versus right. Where's my boy Rogers? Rogers Hornsby versus left. Ooh, I like that matchup. I like that matchup a lot. A lot of green. Let's go, Rogers. Start us off here. Spahn delivers. Little dinker. What's this all about? That ball's getting down. What is the range on that second? What's he doing? He's not even making a play. Rogers Hornsby slow rolls it into second with a leadoff double. Who the heck is playing second base? Jackie Robinson. We'll take it. Spahn now to Mays. 3-0 count. He walked him. Spawn getting himself into some trouble here in the 6th. Oh no, looks like a double play wipes out 2 of them, making Tony Gwynn the last gasp on this rally here in the 6th. 3-1 count on Tony. Spawn delivers. Grounded to short, fielded, across the diamond, inning over. No run score. Top 8. Time for the Nomads to get right back to it. Get right back to it. David Price on the mound. We're facing Roy Campanella. David Price, you know him, you love him because of what he does against lefties. But would you know, did you know, he does not pitch well versus right-hand batters. And whereas Campanella's got a little pop. Look at that green peeking through here on the matchup analyzer. It's peeking through here. 0-2 count on Campanella. The wind and the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. 1 away in the 8th. Bring up Ozzie. 2-1 count on him. The pitch. He loops it into left. Base hit. Love me when Ozzie Smith gets on base. Gotta love it. That brings up Rogers Hornsby. We saw the graphic earlier. He feasts on left-hand pitching. What can he do in this high leverage moment? Full count, 1 away. Ozzie on first. The pitch. Loops it into right. That's a base hit. Ozzie will take the long turn at second and hold. 2 on, 1 out for Ty Cobb. Ty Cobb. I love Ty Cobb, but wouldn't you know it, he prefers the right-hand batter versus left. You have to say that this matchup favors Price. 1-0 count. The pitch. Grounder to first, fielded. Throw to first. They get the out there. Both runners advance. And that's going to bring up a huge moment in this ball game. It's going to bring up Willie Mays with the chance to change the complexion of this game. Willie Mays, much better versus left than he is versus right. You see a lot of green on this matchup analyzer. 842 OPS, 358 on base. Top of the 8th, 3-1 count on him. Price delivers. He walked him. They are loaded. They are loaded for Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn versus left. The thing that I like most about this is we're searching for a hit right now, and what he's best at versus left is that average. Still hits 307 versus left-hand pitching. Tough matchup here for him in Price, but can Gwynn come through? 1-0 count. The pitch. Up the middle, base hit! 1 run will score! Around third, here comes the second run, he will score! And it's 3-2! Naperville Nomads in the 8th inning! Woo! That's gonna get some fireworks going. We're still in the 8th. And let's bring up Hammer and Hank. You guys probably all need to turn down the volume on your computer right now because this is getting out of hand. Hammer and Hank versus left. I like what I'm seeing there. We're in a neutral ballpark. Come on, Hank. Stretch this lead. Stretch it. 2 outs. The pitch. Fly ball. Deep left field. Stretch. Go. Go. He did it. That's 6-2. Naperville Nomads. Huge 8th inning here at the Hawksview Valley Cat Arena. Woo! More fireworks on that one. Love to see it. Sorry for clapping in the mic. I just don't know what to do with myself right now. Oh my goodness. We go to the bottom of the 9th here, and it's Greg Maddox trying to hammer this baby down. He's facing Ty Cobb, and the pitch. Up the middle, fielded by Ozzie, across the diamond. Nomads take game 1. Nomads take game 1. Bender guy thinks we might need to pull in a reliever before this series is over. What a game. What a game. And the big hit was the Tony Gwynn 2-run single versus David Price. Hawksview Valley Cats had some very big 8-run innings. And this game was the time for the Naperville Nomads to have their turn. As we look down at the box scores, we see that Hawksview ran a traditional Spawn, and I ran a Fopener Price leading into my Pedro. All right, 5 minutes left. Now knowing which relievers went, I'm going to make a bullpen revision. So let's put this on ice for a second. And I can make a change. What do you guys think of game one? That was a fun one. Whew, I don't know if I can handle 6 more of those. I don't know if I can handle 6 more of those. All right, so we're looking good here. I'm going to move my David Price over to the bullpen. So David Price just opened that game. He did the first 3 hitters. And now that he's done with that job, I move him over. And his stamina for this game isn't going to be great. 74, so it's usable. But next game, he'll be at full strength. All right, so we got 4 minutes to the sim. Yeah. Yeah, great point, Extreme. Get a sweep, and I won't need to do this 6 more games. We could be done in 4. That'd be great. All right, so I think we are all set up here. I'm going to pull that guy into the rotation to hide him. So one of the things I do is when I have a bullpen pitcher I don't want to pitch, instead of just messing and trying to trust the force bench, I'll just bring him into my rotation. So when you look at my team in the playoffs, you'll often see me running a 6-man rotation. It's not because I'm ever running a 6-man rotation. It's because I'm trying to take away options for the AI to make me extremely angry for it not following my orders. So Maddox just pitched 2 innings that last game as my setup man. I'm pulling him into my rotation because I don't want to see him this one, no matter what. So I'm redoing those roles a bit. All right, I think we are good. We are good, we are great. So let's pop the screen back up. We are looking at Eddie Plank versus Tom Seaver. Or at least those are the advertised starters. We'll see what happens. This is when I would normally turn it over to the color guy to give the play-by-play guy a break. But 2.5 minutes, we'll be right back in it. And we'll actually have the travel day in between for Game 3. So we can just go right into the highlights. Unless it's a 21-inning masterpiece, we shouldn't have any trouble getting through it in 30 minutes. Oh, but what a Game 1. That was just delicious. Tony Gwynn, love him coming through there. Love it. Wasn't the best matchup in the world, but he came through. Hey, what's going on, Chill Penguin? Welcome to the stream. Oh, you know what I have not done is given myself Game 1. So let's go ahead and move a Cubs logo up where it belongs. Oops. There we go. Game 1 in the books. Game 1 to the good guys. Yeah, M-Dub telling me up above that I'm going to need to drink some tea tomorrow if it keeps going like this. Yeah, so I don't, honestly, I'm not a huge lineup composition guy, right, wrong, or indifferent. At the end of the day, I want my best hitters getting the most amount of at-bats. And right now, Hornsby versus left is just miles ahead of anyone else. And so, I'm probably leaving a fractional amount of RBIs on the table by not having him at 3 or 4. But once it gets down to the difference between him getting 5 plate appearances in a game or 4 versus 3, like I've leaned very heavily into getting Hornsby, Cobb, Gwynn as many at bats as possible. Connor, same could be said for him. So it's definitely a departure from what I've done in the past. Haven't always been this way, but the more and more I've actually done these broadcasts and seen games end with some subpar hitter at the plate, when Rogers Hornsby or Ty Cobb is 2 hitters away. Like, no, thank you. Now, obviously, Ty Cobb, much more prototypical leadoff guy. But given that I was facing a lefty there, Hornsby is just so good versus lefties. I'd rather take that OBP and slug right at the top. Yeah, so Shifted did teach me a lot about ripping packs, most notably not to do it. I have not clicked the purchase packs button in months. All the packs I get are from mission redemption or from tournament wins. Yeah, I opened 400 packs the other night. 400 packs. Tons, and most of them, I wouldn't say most of them, I'd say about a quarter of them were special packs, either diamond or gold or historical. And I walked away from that 400 pack sesh with 1 mission card for the playoff missions. I walked away with Edgar Renteria and nothing else. And at that point in time, I said, okay, I'm not doing it. The playoff missions are not for me. I'll buy Andy Pettitte outright. All right, let's go win game 2. Let's go win game 2. We're going right into the highlights. A 2-0 lead coming home would just feel euphoric. All right, Tom Seaver, the advertised starter for the Valley Cats, is Tom Seaver, and here he is. Before we get that first pitch, let's just take a peek at what Tom Seaver, the starter, did in Perfect League. So we're going to change our split here. We're not going to look at VR. We're not going to look at VL. We're actually going to start with Tom Seaver, the starter. So this is going to fold in both left-handed and right-handed batters, but it's only going to include those innings with which he was the starting pitcher. And so you see a 4.47 FIP. You see a 1.45 WHIP. So not the best pitcher in the world. A matchup that, frankly, with this lineup I have right here, with 7 left-handed batters, if Seaver's going to be in this game for a considerable amount of time, I really do like this matchup. Let's see what happens. All right, 1-2 count on Cobb to start off the game. Seaver winds and delivers. Loops it up the middle. Got a chance to drop, and it does. Cobb will start the game with a lead-off single for the Naperville Nomads. Up comes Tony Gwynn, and he's worked the 3-1 count. The pitch. Lines it down the left field line. It's going all the way to the wall. Cobb will head for third. Gwynn will head to second. Both runners will stop there. No, wait a minute. Look at Cobb. He's crazy. He's going home, and he's going to score. And the Nomads are on the board. 1-0. 2 batters in. So the Nomads stop there at 1 run. And in comes Walter Johnson to face Rogers Hornsby here in the first with some trouble. We've got Mays on second and Cobb on first. 1-1 count. The pitch. Fly to center. Playable. Griffey back. Makes the grab. No runners tag. 2 away. And we get out of that inning with no danger. And we move to the 4th. We're going to start action here with Griffey on second. 1 away. Appling at the plate. Now, Luke Appling, if you saw my Thursday stream, he was one of the guys that I think is scary good. Scary good because of how well he performs versus his L7 when you contextualize that with the defensive positions that he can play. And so you look at this and you say negative 12 bat value. What the heck are you talking about, DRC? You can't hit at all. He gets on base at a 323 clip, which is the only right-hand batter who can get on base over 300 clip and play shortstop against right-hand pitching. All right, enough talk. Let's go, Appling. Widen this lead. 1-2 count. Loops it to right, and that gets through. Griffey hits the third. Takes the turn. He's going to try to score. Safe! Griffey makes it 2-0 on an RBI. Luke Appling single. He's scary good. All right, next batter, Joe Mauer. Mauer versus Seaver here in the 4th. The pitch. Deep drive, right field. Get out the tape measure. Joe's doing yard work. Woo! That makes it 4-0. fireworks, even though we're on the road. We've got some rogue Nomad fans out beyond the center field bleachers, setting off fireworks every time the Nomads do a little yard work. So make this 4-0. We fast forward all the way to the bottom of the ninth here, trying to hammer this one down. We've got Fingers on the mound, but we have some trouble. Cobb and Hornsby on base, and DiMaggio at the plate. Up the middle, base hit. That's not good. That's not good. Now they're loaded for Griffey. Man, I'd love to see Fingers out of this game right now. I would love to see me some Trevor Hoffman. I don't see him, though. Fingers to Griffey. Loops it to left. Could be trouble. Diving grab. Ricky Henderson, defensive replacement, makes the catch. Yields the run, but you'll make that trade 10 times out of 10. So Hoffman into the game now. And we've got Roy Campanella at the plate. For this high leverage moment, let's go to our matchup analyzer. Hoffman versus Wright. Campanella versus Wright. Advantage Naperville Nomads. Hoffman, one of the best relievers in the game. Have to say one of now that Mariano's in it. Campanella, not the hitter you want up here. 256 on base percentage versus Wright, but anything can happen here. He's representing the tying run at the plate. Full count. Hoffman comes set. Swing and a miss. Strike three. Nomads up 2-0. Heading home to Naperville. A dream sequence for the Nomads. Let's take a look at how it happened. You see the win expectancy really grew in that fourth inning. And then from a starting pitching perspective, you see that Hawksview threw out Seaver in a traditional start. You see that I pulled Fopener again with Eddie Plank this time. Plank got himself into some trouble there in his three batters. He only got one of them out, but Walter Johnson was able to clean it up. Walter Johnson goes 8 innings, yielding only 3 hits, no walks. Got out of that danger in the first inning, too. And then the game was closed out with Raleigh, Fingers, and Trevor Hoffman. Boy, the Naperville Nomad faithful are loving the progress so far. They are just loving it as we look at that playoff tree and we see the 2-0 lead. So we've got 7 minutes until the sim that is the off day. Seven minutes until the sim that is the off day, and then we head to Naperville. And what I'm curious to see is what are we going to see in terms of starting pitching? Hey, Shifted, thanks so much for the gifted sub over to Stargazer. Really appreciate it, man. Yeah, Chuck's asking who my follower was last game. Let's take a peek-see. It was Walter Johnson. He went 8 innings in relief of Eddie Plank. 8 innings is very rare to see out of a long relief appearance. But I guess he kept his pitch count down. He walked nobody. He was giving up no hits. So it's just smooth sailing. Smooth sailing for Walter. Love to see it. He had a pretty rough season for me. But once you turn the page to the postseason, that's brand new. Brand new year. I don't typically find that your good or bad seasons carry over like that. I had one year where Huey Jennings was just an absolute disaster for me. And then he was the MVP in the playoffs. Big train is the hype train. So we head home. We head home to Naperville. Let's take a quick peek at the coming matchup. So we see Pedro, Maddox, and Spawn lined up for Hawksview. And Spawn, Pettit, and Pedro for Naperville. Although a betting man might tell you that we'll see Glavin at some point. I think there's a very good chance that you're going to see Glavin in these next 3 games in Naperville. Glavin has had an incredible season for me. As we look at the leaderboard, Number 1 in the perfect league in ERA. Number 1. Look at this season here. 20 starts, 26 total appearances, whip under 1.1, love to see it. A league leading 1.2 walks per 9 innings. And yeah, he doesn't strike out people. Only 5.4 on the strikeouts. But he gets the job done, especially if you've got a ballpark that favors him. And I happen to. Yeah, Chuck telling me to check my heart rate. I wish I had an Apple Watch. I would. I used to have a Fitbit, but the thing drove me crazy as I was trying to sleep while wearing it, and just couldn't do it. Ended up just stopping it entirely. Yeah, so Shifted asking what my ballpark factors are. Let's go take a peek. So what we've got is your, I wouldn't say your standard, but it's a variant of your lefty cheese. So I see this done typically 3 different ways. So you max out the average for lefties and max out the homers for lefties, and then you min both for righties. And then the delineation I see is in what people do with their extra base hits, their doubles and triples. So I min mine out to 0.5. I've seen people run 1.0. I've seen people run 1.5. I want to say, and I could be saying this incorrectly, but I think Quanta Condor was running 1.5 on the doubles and triples. Could be wrong there. But those are the kind of the 3 variants that I see when people run this config. And I happen to like the totally minned out doubles and triples. I feel like it gives me a little bit more control in terms of what my pitchers are able to do. You end up with less bullpen fatigue as there's not as much action on the bases. So it's worked for me. Probably won't change it anytime soon. All right, 3 minutes. I am not going to make any changes to my team because I don't want to tip my hand as far as what I'm doing. So I'm just going to let it stay static to what it was last time. And then after this 3-minute sim here, we'll make the changes. But 2-0 lead going home. If I can just somehow find a way to pull 2 of 3 at home, then I get to raise a trophy. And then you guys might see me come to tears. And Stargazer reminded me to update the logo, which is probably my worst habit when I do these broadcasts. I never remember to do that. And the reason is, like on your end, you guys are staring at everything that's on the screen right now. On my end, I only see out of the park in my Excel, unless I look over. And normally when I'm looking over, I'm just looking at the chat. So I miss it a lot. But I appreciate the reminder. And I think for people that are just checking in here and there, just kind of want to passively pay attention to what's going on, that's an excellent visual cue. So I want to get better at remembering it. I need to get a little shock collar put on myself that whenever I forget, gives me a nice low voltage jolt. I tore my ACL in college playing flag football, if you believe that. And the hardest part of that rehab was the low voltage electroshock therapy to try to reactivate those muscles. That was just horrible. I'll always remember that. I like where your head's at there, Baccarat boy. I don't know. If I put Walnut in control of that, I'd be getting shocked at random hours of the night. That seems a bit dangerous. Walnut probably does shock therapy for fun. So we head to the Nape. And let's remember, as we head to the Nape, how successful my team was at home this year. 54-27. I can't tell you I was doing anything different this year than I had in recent years. Really, the only difference was having Glavin. I don't think Glavin is that transformative a difference to push me up to 2/3 instead of, say, 3/5 at home. But whatever was working was working. And I hope we've still got some of that magic, because I'd love to take 2 or 3 here with this middle 3-game set. I've got a dog barking in the background. I wonder if you guys can hear that. All right, rest day sim coming in. We will load this up, and then I will make my changes, and then we will prepare for game 3. I feel like the hallmark of broadcasting these Perfect League World Series is most World Series have one game where there's either a ton of scoring back and forth, or there's the 14, 15, 16 inning game where you end up with 15 to 20 minutes of highlights. We haven't had that yet. Maybe that's coming. Although perhaps unlikely at my ballpark, which typically depresses scoring some. All right, sim time. So far, the Mickey Mouse shirt is working wonders. 2-0, baby. 2-0, baby. All right, let me go BRB, and let's make some changes. Let's find the winning combo for game 3. Let's find it. And as a reminder, I opened with Eddie Plank last game, and so now I'm going to get him into a specialist role because I can't start him anymore. When you start anyone, you require at least 3 days rest to be able to get them back on the mound with near 100% health or pitch fatigue. And so what I often like to do is give that opener an opportunity to go in the pen as a specialist. So now my AI has another option. If there's a tough left-handed batter coming up and say David Price is already spent. Tech looking for a Cincinnati Diamond up on the auction house in case anyone's sitting on one and wants some quick perfect point conversion there. All right, we removed Greg Maddux from our pen before. We're going to get him back in because he's re-rested. All right, I think this is the group that we want to go to battle with. Let's make sure I don't have any hidden pitch counts on anyone that's going to screw up the intended design here. But most everyone's rested. As far as availability, Raleigh Fingers, I'll say, is unavailable. He's at 74%. I don't really want him going if he's at that low of a stamina. But other than that, everyone that I could want to be available is available. So let's go win game 3. I'm going to go ahead and get to Hawks View, and I'll show you guys again here. So this is on Hawks View's team. As we look at his rotation, you've got Pedro rested, you've got Maddux rested. We've got a Carl Hubble who's rested. So those would be the 3 options with which he could deploy a starter. It would have to be one of those 3. Now, I have seen people do some weirder things, like throwing Hoffman as an opener. Oh, I see Plank here. Plank's also ready to be a starter. So he's also in play. You know, in light of availability there, I'm going to make just one quick change to my lineup. Okay. We are good here now. Beautiful. We'll go back to Hawks View, and we'll bring you guys back to the seat. Ten minutes to the sim. don't think we took a look at M. Wayne's history. Let's take a quick peek now. Started in 2023. I can't recall what the first week was, but it feels around the beginning, maybe a couple weeks late. Worked his way up his first time to Diamond. He got sent right back to Gold, had to hang there for a couple seasons. Then made his way up to Diamond for good. Had a string of, what is this? What is that, about 12 straight weeks, 13 straight weeks of making the playoffs in Diamond, and then finally cracked through in 2045. Came up to the Perfect League in 2045. Not great 95 win season, made the playoffs, but then relegated the following season with a 72 and 90. Back down to Diamond. Good season, 94 win season that does not make the playoffs in Diamond. It's a little surprising. I'm sure it's happened before, but 94 wins will typically get you to the dance. Following season, though, he goes 110 and 52 and wins the Diamond League, jumps up to Perfect. In Perfect, he's gone 88, 93, and 92 with the win totals. And this year was 92. From a statistical perspective, you see that he's given up less and less runs each year. I wonder if we've seen some creeping park factors. Let's remember his park has slightly depressed extra base hits and slightly depressed home runs. I wonder if that was a different story in year one, as you see higher run production and worse run avoidance as well. I think so much, Crash. Yeah, we're in the finals and we're trying to get through it without passing out. Up 2-0 right now. Up 2-0, really loving the idea of winning Game 3. And I feel good about my lineup in Game 3. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, you're absolutely right. 2-0 gets to calm the nerves a little bit. 0-2 or 1-1 would feel a whole lot different than this does right now. But I'm sure we all have seen countless times where a team gets a 2-0 lead, gets reverse swept, gets a 3-0 lead, gets reverse swept. I mean, these refrains are all too familiar. Who was the guy that used to go into the tournament Discord channel and always talk about his reverse sweeps? There was one guy that used to do it every day. I'm trying to remember his name. But it happens. So 2-0 is it's comfortable, but don't get too comfortable. Yep, API's got it. That was Bo. The Hospitaler Stars, something like that. Tech saying 2020 was the first season, so it looks like Hawks View was 3 weeks late. Well, we got 7 minutes to burn. Anyone curious to run any matchup analyzers? Pick a pitcher, pick a hitter. We'll see what kind of sample we got for him. So Tech saying like a dummy, you started all 3 teams in the first week. You know, I don't have any alt teams. I'm a one team kind of guy. I've got my nomads and nothing else. Tris versus RJ, says Cubed. Let's take a peek at what that looks like. So if you saw my my stream on Thursday, you saw that I was kind of hard on Randy Johnson. And I'll explain why in just a second. So here's the matchup. And, Randy Johnson's got some green there. And there's no red poking through. Really strong FIP, 307. Pretty good home run avoidance at .92. Great K per 9, 11.0. Where I fell out of love with Randy has most to do with his walk problem. 3.3 walks per 9. So above league average, even against his strong side. And because he likes to give up too many walks, that whip is always high. He's working high pitch counts. He's working with runners on base all the time. when he does give up that homer, it's oftentimes not a solo shot. And as you look at this being his strong side, we'll quickly toggle. Here's his versus right. The walks per 9 jumps to almost 6, almost double league average. The homers per 9 jumps to 141, completely unacceptable. Ks per 9 sits at about league average. Whip up to 164. It's just really hard to make this profile work for me. And you could easily throw back in my face and say, hey, it's the same darn thing as Eddie Plank. And you wouldn't be that wrong. But Eddie Plank is 85K. And Randy Johnson's 200. And so while Eddie Plank is on my team as we speak, I thought the right value play was to move on from Randy Johnson. I also think that Eddie Plank is a little bit better versus left. Hey, thanks for the follow, Danny D. So Baccarat Boy wants to check Cy versus Ty. A bit self-serving, he knows. Let's get some Cy Young in here. So because there are so few Cy Youngs, we won't have the biggest sample. So 275, that's not bad. And then let's get some Ty Cobb going. Ty Cobb versus Wright. So Cy Young, definitely a very, very good pitcher. I mean, a 1.3 whip for a right-hand pitcher versus left is excellent. Below perfect league average. Fit below perfect league average. Very good home run avoidance, even versus left. And as you toggle to his V right, you see even more green there. Not walking any right-hand batters. Incredible whip. So Cy Young's a great pitcher. If you want to sell him, DM me on the Discord. I'm guessing that this amount of perfect points would not be enough to get Cy Young from you. Oh, you can't see it. It's 1.527 million. Again, me forgetting that you guys can't see what I can see. Can we get a professional up in here? Yeah, I need to keep moving that inventory. Yeah, that 400 pack rip I had that I'd saved up for weeks really fueled my stack. I probably picked up 1.5 million in points out of that 400 pack rip. And again, remember, not most of those, but a good, healthy portion of those packs were not standard packs. You know, they were historical or diamond or gold. So it wasn't an incredible pack run by any stretch. It was actually a pretty horrible pack run. I think my big hit in the 400 was a George Brett 91, which I was able to sell to a buddy of mine who was trying to complete that collection. All right, minute 40 to the sim. Game 3 of the 2051 World Series. Yeah, I feel you, Chuck. So honestly, the thing that made me hold initially was that it was my first week in Perfect League then. And I was so obsessed with active team management and keeping like a lean reserve roster of the pitchers that I was shuffling in and out and the hitters that I was trying to make work, that the number one reason why I wasn't ripping packs was because I didn't want to have to clean up my reserve list. As you know, if you've got 20 players on your reserve, you open a pack, now you've got 26. And the 6 garbage players you got from your pack are now in your reserve list. There's probably a setting somewhere where it doesn't have to be that way. But that annoyed me to the point where I just didn't want to have to deal with it. And I wanted a clean list so that as I was trying to manage the team, I wasn't having things getting in my way. I don't know, Baccarat Boy. You say the good old days of pack ripping are long gone. I guess it depends on what you define as the good old days. Like the people that are ripping out 88 Mathewsons right now and are ripping out 93 Carl Fiorillos. They'd tell you that the good old days of pack ripping are alive and well right now. Yeah, good point, Stargazer. Being able to kind of freeze your reserve team, not have cards automatically come in there. I'm such a nerd. I actually like write up my battle plans on pen and paper. And I do that all season long. Here's a day. Here's a day of Perfect League for me. Yeah, Vic is asking if there's going to be face of the franchise next year. I have no idea. All right, Sim is in. We're going to load it. I'm going to make some changes to my team, and then we're going to watch it. So I'm going to go ahead and put you guys on BRB. I'm going to go to my pitching staff and make the changes that I need for Game 2. Excuse me, Game 4. All right. Feel good with that. Let me check who I'm supposed to be facing in response. So he's going to be throwing Pedro. So that might get a slight lineup mod on my side. All right, I think we're ready. Let's watch Game 3. And let's hope it's a 3-0 Naperville Nomad lead when we're done. Here we go. Game 3 underway. And they're not showing us the first pitch of the game. That's weird. Normally they do. But they are showing us the bottom of the first with his Hubble on the mound facing my Willie Mays. And I'm glad that I made my speaker for Hank Aaron swap out in left field. So if you look at the number 6 spot in my lineup, that's normally Hank Aaron versus left. I thought he might throw Hubble, so I swapped it for speaker. Because in my park, which juices lefties, I didn't want Hubble to be able to knife through Aaron, who is already nerfed by this park. So I'm happy with that switch. We'll see if it ends up mattering one way or another. First, we have Willie Mays. Hubble winds and pitches. Fly ball, deep right center. Go, ball, go. That ball's out of here. That's an opposite field home run for Willie Mays, giving the Naperville Nomads a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the first. Willie Mays loves his left-hand pitch, and we go bottom 3. And Willie's got a chance to do some more damage. Rogers Hornsby on second, Ty Cobb on first, and he's got an 0-0 count on Hubble. The pitch. Grounder to second, or grounder to short, double play. That's going to crush the rally. Rally killing, twin killing for Willie Mays. And that gets out of the threat. Tommy G, first highlight for the Valley Cats here. And you see that I've got Tom Glavine on the hill. And you see that Tom Glavine is facing a lineup with 4 lefties in it. This is a deviation from the Valley Cats' standard VL lineup. Their standard VL lineup has only 2 lefties in it. This one's got 4, and Glavine's got to get through Hornsby now. Here in the 4th, 2-2. Rifles it down the right field line. That's going to be extra bases and tie the game. Right fielder retrieves it, and that'll hold Hornsby at second. That's an RBI double and a new ball game. We go top 6. Still tied up. Glavine facing Jackie. 0-1 count. The wind and the pitch. Loops it right field line. That ball's going to get down. Fielded by Gwynn and throws it in to hold Jackie to a single. That brings up Ty Cobb as the next hitter. 2-2 count on him. The wind and the pitch. Jackie's going to try to steal second. And he's in there with a stolen base. Campanella makes the throw, but it's late. And so now it's Glavine v. Cobb with a runner in scoring position here in the 6th. Full count. Wind in the pitch. Fly ball deep right. Trouble, trouble, trouble. Gone. The Valley Cats get a 2-run homer off Glavine by Ty Cobb to take the lead. And the Nomads are chasing. They will start their chase with Ty Cobb versus Carl Hubble. here in the bottom of the 6th. 2-2 count. Fly ball deep right field. Forget about it. That's a moonshot. Ty Cobb cuts the lead in half. 3-2 Valley Cats, and a huge shot in the arm for the Nomads. 428 happy feet. We're still in the 6th, and Willie Mays comes up. Willie Mays has a dinger in the game. He's also got a rally-killing double play. What does he have in mind for his third at-bat? 0-2 count. The wind and the pitch. Grounder to third, fielded. Oh, and it's booted. He'll have no play. That's an E5, putting Willie Mays on first here in the 6th. Next batter, Tony Gwynn. Wind in the pitch. Grounder to first, fielded. Second for one, back to first. Not in time. Gwynn hustling, beats out the double play. We go top 7, and Hawks View is threatening. We see Maddox on for the Nomads here, but we've got first and third and one away for Ty Cobb, who's already been a thorn in the side. You see Naperville employing the shift here. They'd love to find their way into a double play. The pitch. A pitch out and throw down to first. I don't know that I've seen that before, but now we've all seen it. Jackie's at second, so he did successfully steal, breaking up the potential double play. And now Cobb faces Maddox with a 1-2 count. Maddox comes set. The pitch. Grounder short in the infield. Runners will not try to score. Maddox to first to retire Cobb. And now he's one batter away from getting out of the threat. It's Rogers Hornsby. Full count. The pitch. Little looper. Ozzie coming in. It'll be called off by Luke Appling, or with Rogers Hornsby, excuse me, and that will end the threat. It's time for the Nomads to even this, and they turn to pinch hitter Hank Aaron to try to do so. Roger Connor representing the tying run on first base. What can Hank do here? Hubble, the pitch. Fly ball right center, playable. Caught, and that will end the inning here in the 7th. We go to the 8th with the Valley Cats still leading 3-2. Top 8. Maddox trying to get through Maurer here. Definitely not happy that they're showing this with nobody on and 2 outs. Nothing good can happen here. 1-2 count to Maurer. The wind and the pitch. Looper up the middle. That's a base hit. Maurer's on with a 2-out single. All right, no trouble from there. It's the bottom of the 8th. The 8th inning has been an inning that the Nomads have used already in this series to take down David Price. Can they do it here? It's going to be Hornsby, Cobb, and Mays trying. We'll start with Rogers. Full count on him. The wind and the pitch. Hey, walked him. Hornsby on base, representing the tying run. Bring up Ty Cobb. You know, we looked at this matchup right before the game. We'll look at it again because it's never been more relevant. Ty Cobb, one of the better lefties versus left. David Price, the absolute best left-handed pitcher versus left. 2-2 count. Line in the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Big strikeout for David Price. Brings up Willie Mays. So let's flip the script here. We'll go David Price versus right, and we'll go Willie Mays versus left. Advantage Nomads. Can Willie help out here in the 8th? 2-2 count. The pitch. Fly ball left field. Playable. He'll make the grab. Runners will not advance. 2 away now, and we're down to Ricky Henderson. Ricky does not do well in my ballpark, but I'm sure hoping that he has a little lightning in his bat here versus David Price. 1-2 count on him, the pitch. Swing and a miss. No, he'll take it looking. That's a backwards K for Ricky Henderson to end the 8th. We go 9th. Naperville just trying to keep it at 1. He'll start off with Ozzie Smith versus Bob Feller. 2-1 count on Ozzie. The pitch. Loops it into right. That's a base hit. Ozzie gets a base hit and nothing else doing there. We go bottom 9. Where heroes are made. Who's going to be the hero tonight? We've got Price on the mound trying to hammer this win down for the Valley Cats. He'll have to go through Jackie, Tris, and an icy cold Roy Campanella. Let's go ahead and take a look at all of these matchups. Jackie Robinson versus left. David Price versus right. Advantage hitter. We need a base runner, Jackie. We need you on base any way you can. The wind in the pitch. Liner, right field, base hit. Leadoff runner on for the Nomads. Tying run on base, winning run at the plate. And that winning run comes to the plate in the form of Tris Speaker. Former $1 million perfect point man. And he's got a doozy of a matchup here trying to hit against David Price. 1-0 count on him. The wind in the pitch. Little dinker to second for one. Won't be able to complete the double play. Up comes Roy Campanella. Mr. Roy. Roy versus left is his strong side. He's got a good bit of power. This isn't the park for it to really come out very often, but crazier things have happened. Price to Campanella. First a pickoff throw. 2-2 count now on Campanella. Another pickoff throw. 2-2 count still. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike three. Campanella. The icy Campanella stays icy. And that means the only thing separating the Hawksview Valley Cats from a win is getting Roger Connor out right here. Connor definitely worse versus left-hand pitching, but not a total slouch. Gets on base at a good clip. Can run into a fastball every now and then. We'll start with a pickoff throw on Speaker. Speaker is a good runner. If Connor splits a gap, Speaker will score. 2-1 count on Connor. The wind in the pitch. Little looper, left field. This should do it. And the Valley Cats have narrowed the series advantage to 2-1. 2-1. And we are 3 minutes to the next sim. Let me, before I forget, give the Valley Cats their win begrudgingly. Did not like that one. Boo and hiss is correct. All right, let's take a quick look at the box score there, see who pitched. So I went with a straight start of Glavin. He went with a straight start of Hubble. Hubble pitched better. Hubble pitched better, and my swap in of Tris Speaker did not help me at all. He went 0 for 4. Aaron came in to pinch it later, went 0 for 1. But I burned Maddox and I burned Feller. So let me go BRB while I've got a second here and make the changes needed for my bullpen to be managed correctly. So Raleigh Fingers now rested. So we can get him back into the mix. Hoffman is rested as my closer. You like to see that. Okay. I think we are in pretty good shape here. Just need to do a quick lineup check on the expected starting pitcher. So I'm kind of disappointed to lose that one. I think that Hubble in my ballpark with the lineup I put out there, I think that I win that game more often than not. So that one's a tough one to let go. But, I mean, on a single game basis, anything can happen. And it didn't go my way. But that's okay. We soldier on. So who am I expecting in game 4? I'm expecting Pedro. Okay, we are ready to rock and roll. Who's going to win game 4? Firebird points out correctly that the home team is 0-3 so far. Yeah, Port Dog. So, I like Raleigh. He's had some pretty good seasons for me. One of the big things about why I choose Raleigh is that late innings, I really like control. And I know that I am somewhat unique in that regard. Other people like really high stuff in the back ends of bullpens, or the back ends of games. But here's my rationale on it. In that 8th and 9th inning, when you're protecting a lead, who is in the game? All of your defensive subs. So whatever lineup you tried to get a lead in innings 1 through 7, that's not the lineup in innings 8 and 9. You have your absolute best defenders out there. And so why not? Why not prioritize making your opponent hit the ball in play and find the dirt in between your elite defense, the best defense that you can bring forward? And so right, wrong, or indifferent, that's my mentality on it. Raleigh Fingers is in there. I don't see a ton of people running Raleigh. So I think other people make different choices. As you look at his splits here, very good versus right. He's walking nobody. And then versus left, he's still below league average in walks versus left, but he gets hit up a bit. FIP in the whip isn't great. Hey, what's going on, Max Fire? We're up 2-1, but we just lost a Glavin versus Hubble battle that I'd really love to have back. I feel like that's a good matchup for me, and didn't go my way. All right, so I'm going to make a couple of quick changes here for Game 5 before we check out Game 4. All right, looking good there. And, ooh, okay, interesting. Let's see who the heck pitched in this game. All right, let's do it. Game 4 time. So you see Warren Spahn pitching for me, and he's running out against that same lineup that the Valley Cats threw last game, 3 or 4 lefties. And he'll start off the game versus Tony Gwynn. We'll go ahead and get Warren Spahn's numbers up there while we wait. Warren Spahn is a starter. And a little grounder Dinker makes a play himself. Spahn on over to Connor, 1 away. You see Spahn's numbers as a starter, 1.3 whip, below the perfect league average. The FIP's right in line with perfect league average. Doesn't walk a lot of people. Gives up a dinger every now and then. All right, we're still in the first. And Spahn's got to work around Jackie Robinson on third base and Rogers Hornsby at the plate. 0-1 count on Hornsby. The pitch. Up the middle, base hit. And the Valley Cats strike first. And we're still in the first, and we've got Griffey at the plate. Strong shift on for the Naperville Nomads. The wind and the pitch. Fly ball, deep left center. Don't like where that's going. Three 3-0 Valley Cats, and we're not out of the first. We've got Eddie Plank on the hill for the Valley Cats. Eddie Plank. And here we're in the second, and Campanella's at the plate with a 2-0 count. Eddie Plank struggles a bit with his control, especially against the other side. So we'll put up some Eddie Plank as a starter. You see that 4.8 walks per 9. We'll see if that rears its head. 2-0 count on Campy. The pitch. Fly ball on the right field line. That's going to go all the way to the wall. Jackie around second on his way to third. Will they send him home? He gets the third, and he gets the green light. On the way to the plate. He's safe. 3-1 lead now for the Valley Cats as the Naperville Nomads inch closer. We're still in the second here, and Connor's looking for an opportunity to drive in Campanella in scoring position there at second base. Plank readies and throws. Deep drive, right center. Right fielder doesn't even move. That's a game-tying bomb. 439 happy feet from Roger Connor to make this a brand new ball game. Plank still in trouble, although we move to the third now. He's got Cobb on second. He's got Mays on first. And Tony Gwynn at the plate. Gwynn with an opportunity to change the complexion of this game with one swing, 1-1 count. Liner to third, fielded. That could be a Twin killing it is. Gwynn grounds into a double play and ends the threat in the inning there. We go bottom 5, though. And here's a big chance here for Willie Mays. Big chance for Willie Mays. What we're going to do is we're going to look at Willie Mays versus left. You see the power. You see the on base. You see the positive bat value. And then you look at Eddie Plank versus right. Giving up above league average in home runs. Walking double league average. The whip of 1.7. Full count here. Rogers Hornsby will be in motion. Plank pitches. Hey, walks Mays. Pitch count has to be climbing now. That's his 5th walk of the game and brings up Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn looking to atone for that double play from an inning ago. Can he come through with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position? The wind in the pitch. Liner up the middle. Is it playable? It is. That will end the threat here in the 5th. Griffey Jr. comes in and makes the running grab. We go bottom 6. Plank still on the hill. Leadoff runner on base in the form of Jackie Robinson and Tris Speaker at the plate. If I were omniscient, I would go back and change Speaker to Hank Aaron for this spot here. But unfortunately, I don't have that kind of pull here. So Speaker versus Plank. First a pickoff throw. 2-1 count on Speaker. The pitch. Fly ball, deep right field. What do I know? Bomb! Big bomb! Tris Speaker! Make it 5-3 Nomads here in the 6th. Why did I have to open my mouth second guessing the lineup placement? Could have looked like a genius. We go top 8. Nomads still protecting that 2-run lead. Warren Spahn still on the hill, despite giving up 3 runs, 7 hits. And now he's trying to get through a Ty Cobb to get to the bottom of the 8th. 1-1 count on Cobb, the pitch. Liner in the right field, played by Gwynn. They'll hold him to a single, but we've got a little action on the base paths here in the 8th. It came to nothing, and we go to the 9th. The 9th is where you separate the boys from the men, and Trevor Hoffman on to close this one out. If you ask Tech 15 in the chat, this doesn't necessarily guarantee you anything. But let's see what Trevor can do for me today. He'll start with Ken Griffey Jr. 1-1 count. The wind in the pitch. Liner into center. Not the start you want. Griffey will start it with a single. And up next is Willie Mays. Double play would be just what the doctor ordered. The pitch. Grounder to third. Tough play. Pitcher fields it. Gets the lead runner at first. They got it second. They get it first. I can't even talk. It's the most unlikely double play in baseball history. A slow roller that somehow Hoffman gets to and is able to get the lead runner at second and whip it over to first to complete the double play. Hoffman, Maddox-esque, cat-like off the mound. And now, the Nomads 1 strike away from a commanding 3-1 lead in the Perfect League World Series. Full count here on Mauer. The pitch. Liner to right. It's a looper, playable, and caught. Nomads win. Nomads win. Your Nomads are up 3-1 in the 2051 Perfect League World Series. We look at the box score and we see that my Spawn had a good game. He scattered 8 hits. Wasn't a great game. Only struck out 4, but was able to get through 8, only yielding 3. And then Hoffman came in for a relatively interest-free 9th. On the Hawksview side, Plank got touched up a bit. Plank, as we look at his numbers as a starter, Plank struggled. Plank goes 6, gives up 5. Really struggled with the walks, 5 walks to go with 5 hits through 6 innings. And that's where the damage was done. Most of it, or really the defining blow, being that Tris Speaker home run. I mean, if you're Hawks View, you say to yourself, I'm going into a lefty cheese park. I'm throwing plank. And if the righties beat me, so be it. But I'm going to put strength on strength so that when I face Connor and Speaker and Cobb and Gwynn, I'm putting myself in the best position to win. And it just didn't play out that way this game. Connor takes him yard in the 2nd. Speaker takes him yard in the 6th. And sometimes you just tip your hat. Baccarat Boy asking me if my opinions about the long sim have changed. And it's funny you ask, because they have. All I want right now is a long sim. I want the longest sim that's ever simmed in 4 minutes. Let's bring on the long sim, please. So Hawksview has been showing Pedro as his probable starter for the last 2 games. I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that we see him here in 5. Let's take a peek at what his options are. So he's got Maddox rested. He's got Spawn rested. Maybe we see Spawn. So it's either fire Pedro or Spawn or Maddox. I mean, shoot, Walter Johnson's there. Basically, all of the meta starters are rested right now. Most rotations in Perfect League have these 4 guys in it. Spawn, Pedro, Maddox, Johnson. In some form or a fashion of Maddox. Either the face of the franchise or the 100 legend. And he's got them all rested. So which one does he choose to tap in Game 5? Let's go ahead and give the Nomads Game 4. Whew. All right, 2.5 minutes to the sim. I think we see Pedro here, but I could definitely be wrong. Let's go BRB and make any adjustments we need to do. From a bullpen perspective, I'm in decent shape. Hoffman, even though he got the close, did not throw that many pitches. So he's at 86% rested. Thanks, Luke, for the cheer, buddy. I really appreciate it. Hopefully that pushes me over the top. My Pedro's rested too. We could go Pedro v. Pedro battle. With the Perfect League title on the line. My Maddox not quite rested as much as I'd like him to be. All right, I think we're ready. I think it's go time. I think it is go time. Minute to the sim. Come on, Nomad Nation. One more win. As a reminder, on Tuesday, Snaggle J is my guest for reading between the lineups. I will actually be recording that interview right after this is done. So for Snaggle J's perspective, let's get a quick series end here. Get him to bed early. That Atlantic time can really mess with you. And that's a good point. You bring up to wait till next year. We are moving the broadcast from Tuesday to Monday. We're going to broadcast this tomorrow, not Tuesday, because we want people to be able to follow all their election coverage they want and not have to worry that they're missing the greatest interview that's ever interviewed. So it'll be tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern. Sorry, Snaggle. Sorry to cost you there. And we are simming. We have started the sim. Start your sim timer. Start the sim timer. I can share all my secrets now that the sim has started. But here was my bullpen deployment for this game. I went Andy Pettit in a traditional start, leading up to a Fingers Hoffman back end of the bullpen, with Feller, Seaver, Price, and Plank set up as specialists, if need be. That means that if we need to go to a game 6 and 7, I would have a well-rested Pedro and a well-rested Walter to try to bring me home. Yeah, the heart is a pumping right now. The heart is definitely a pumping. When I first got into this game, me and my buddies, shout out to Chill Penguin X and TexCow22. We knew nothing about nothing. And I was dumb enough to say, you know what, I want to win the Perfect League one day. I want to do it. And I don't think they believed me, but they were certainly encouraging friends. And I can't believe that it's potentially a sim away. Yeah, Vic asking if this is my first year in the game. This is my first year in the game. Now, I had played, what was it? Out of the Park 16, maybe? That was 15. It was one of the two. And all I did was the online mode. I guess Perfect Team didn't exist back then anyway. And then there was a mobile version of Out of the Park for the main game that existed in like 12 or 11 that I'd played as well. I played Baseball Mogul back in like 2008. Yeah, it would have been 2008. So I played some baseball sims, but Perfect Team is an entirely different animal. Yeah, this is an entirely different animal. Like, I remember the first time, and I can't remember who was trying to do it to me, but they were trying to explain to me how power isn't necessarily all good. And I was like, okay, you're an idiot. What are you talking about here? Explaining the value of the Ichiro type profile, explaining the order of operations, explaining that contact isn't a real thing, all the things that Kidneys drones on about every Thursday. Like, as I was being baptized into that world, I'd say that I was brought there reluctantly. Go get yourself some dinner, Michael Vick. Thanks for coming by. Yeah, honestly, as I first started playing this game, I was just kind of going off of what I recalled as far as like the legacy of players. I think I talked about on a recent stream, I think it was last Thursday, that I wanted to get a Bob Gibson just because I figured Bob Gibson had to be the best player in the game because of how good he was the year before they lowered the mount. Snaggle J going to check on the long sim. Get in on that back end. See what you can see. Changing some ones and zeros. No, but I mean, so many people. And the beauty of this game is honestly the community. That's the inspiration behind why I started the Reading Between the Lineups show, is because I feel like unique to this game, the community is so helpful. The community is so invested. Like, there are so few people that are on the Discord that don't really care about this game. That don't really care about having fun. They don't care about helping others understand and enjoy the game. Like you see someone pop into roster and strategy advice and ask just like the most mundane and basic question, and no one ever shames them for it. You know, someone gives them a real answer, someone points them in the right direction. They'll link them to Sanji's new player guide, and the fact that Sanji's new player guide exists is a testament to the community. The fact that Kidney's database exists is a testament to the community. So it's just awesome. And the people that have really helped me along the way, I think Shifted was the first person that took me under his wing and helped me to understand what good cards were. Kept me from buying a Matt Kilroy I shouldn't buy. Got me to buy a 98 Alkaline that I should buy. That ended up being a really good card for me. You know, API has been a huge help. Wait till next year. Taught me how to get my brains beat in the silver tourney meta. And is probably one of the better closet data analysts in this game that isn't so outwardly open with his brilliance or his findings. Yeah, I think if you ask any top player in this game, like who has helped you along the way, everyone will have a laundry list. There might be one or two guys that tries to tell you they did it all themselves, or they don't ever manage their team, or it's just a game. Get over it, nerd. Wow, this game's a ton of fun. This is absolutely the most addictive game I've ever played, too. I can't think of another game which captivates my brain space as frequently and as deeply as this one does. MacJack's huge help as well. MacJack's probably the master of data collection and data understanding and observed statistics. Kidneys sharing with me how the game actually works versus how I thought it worked. Very appreciative for all his help. I mean, Andy G22, he and I were sharing a lot of notes about bronze tourney meta early on as we were hardening up our bronze tourney teams. And I've won over 1.5 or 1.6 million perfect points in bronze tourneys. So that was absolutely critical to building up the game economy. And honestly, Walnut inviting me into the DLL to be exposed to so many people more brilliant than Walnut was a huge value add as well. He opened the kingdom to brilliance. But I mean, there's so many guys so helpful. Like I think early on in the game when I was doing live collections, Doc Fury was like my go-to for my live bronzes. Like I'm collecting bronzes for the Dodgers or whatever. And there's a guy I can't find, or I can find him, but he's listed at 4x L7. Go to Doc Fury and say, hey man, can you help me out? And 9 times out of 10, he's got 3 copies of that player. And that was so critically helpful in completing those live collections in a timely fashion. So we're 9 minutes into waiting for this sim. Normally another 9 minutes or so, 7 to 9 minutes, we'll have the opportunity to see the game. Another shout out to Bert. You know, Bert is a Perfect League stalwart in his own right. A savant in many ways. Won in the Perfect League in ways that few people did. Stayed up there a very long time. But so many people, I'm sure I've missed at least a half half a dozen people who have been pretty formative in terms of me picking up this game and really sticking with it. Snaggle J confirming they do plan on getting rid of the long sim. And honestly, you don't need to get rid of it so much as just move it back to one sim behind the last game of the World Series. Yeah, Tech saying the Perfect League banner that pops up after the sim should just be a picture of Mac holding all his trophies. Well, I mean, we've got Photoshop, and we've now got images of Mac, and we've got images of the trophy. So I would think one of Kidney's friends could probably put together a meme in about 10 seconds of that reality. Mac Jacks, Mr. 3-time champion. Do we know if his Rockport Rumblefish ended up winning that league? That might have been a gold league, now that I think of it. I think he was facing Kidneys. Oh, Kidneys won gold. Good job, man. That's right, you were saying 4 gold championships to date. I've got 0 gold championships. My trophy case is pretty bare. 2 diamonds, a bronze, and a stone. But I'm sure hoping to add a PeL. So this last sim, I was rolling out Andy Pettitte as a starter. And we'll take a look at our small sample size of what Andy Pettitte as a starter looks like in our matchup analyzer here. And again, 35 innings. So do not make any big decisions upon this data. But these 35 innings are looking really darn good. A whip under 1. A walk rate, which I think stabilizes pretty quickly, of 2. Homer per 9 probably takes the longest to stabilize, 0.76. Don't read too much into that. Strikeout rate below league average. But he's a ground ball guy. He'll give up some contact. If you got a good defense behind him, good things will happen. Especially if you're running a park that will play down the right-hand batters. And as you break down Pettitte versus left and versus right, you see the versus left is stronger, although in this small sample size, his whip's out of control versus left. That won't be the case after we get some more innings on him. But I think that Chris has dropped some really good left-handed pitchers on us in recent weeks. And I'm most notably talking about Pettitte and Glavine. So if you've been looking for a left-handed starting pitcher and waiting for there to be one out there worth buying, I'd start with Glavine, and then I'd give strong consideration to Pettitte. A couple of guys that I just love having on my team now. I'll show you Tommy G's stats as a starter. So you look at these stats as a starter, walk-in nobody, whip well below perfect league average, FIP right in line. "14 minutes into the sim. I'm liking what that smells like." As we peek how we got to this point, I took game 1 6-2 in a game that swung on a wild 8th inning. An 8th inning that was David Price blowing it for Hawksview. Hank Aaron with a big 3-run dinger. Tony Gwynn with the hit, though. Tony Gwynn broke broke Price first. He was the one who switched it from a 2-1 deficit to a 3-2 lead. And that was game one. Important to win game one. Game two, pitchers duel the whole way. And my Walter Johnson just bested his Tom Seaver. Johnson dominant through 8 innings of relief. Game three, 3-2. Tight game. Valley Cats win. And it was Hubble out-dueling Tom Glavine. Hubble gave 7 strong innings, gave up 2. And my Glavine got hit around a little bit. He does give up contact. So you're going to have your bad BABIP games. But didn't walk anyone. Still got a quality start out of it. Just wasn't enough to win this game. And then game 4 was the last one we were able to watch. And this is the one where Roger Connor and Tris Speaker hit a pair of 2-run homers versus Eddie Plank. Real tough matchup for him. As you can see on your screen in the matchup analyzer. Eddie Plank versus left. Tough customer. But both guys were able to come through. All the while, Warren Spahn, was pitching well enough to win. And that leads us to game 5. Final game in Naperville. It was scheduled to be Pedro versus Pettit. I can tell you that Pettit went. We'll have to see if Pedro ended up going for the Valley Cats. Yeah, people asking about the Glavine L7 in the chat. I think that Glavine will likely come down more and more as you see the supply tick up. I can't remember what I paid. I want to say it was maybe $6.50. Definitely don't regret it at all right now with the season that he had for me. I think I picked him up in May, so didn't have him all season. Didn't have him day one. But it was Fair Territory was advertising one on Discord. And I pinged him, made him an offer, and got him. And he put up a huge season, 3.4 WAR, league-leading ERA. Rain delay in Naperville, says Baccarat Boy. Champagne put on ice for the time being. $18 minutes on the sim now. This is right around when we expect it to come in. Yeah, Max Fire asking if I got Pettit too. I picked him up actually right after the first round of the playoffs. So as we look at the playoff tree, I beat Tech in 4. And the moment that game was over, I knew API was selling a Pettit. And so I was bothering him. I was incessantly bothering him and trying to convince him to sell me Pettit. And we threw some numbers back and forth, found a good price. I got Pettit and was able to deploy him in game 1 against Jay Mallett. Right here. And Pettit pitched 6 strong, gave up 2. And the reason that I was rushing to get Pettit is I wanted to throw as many lefties as I could in the series because Jay Mallett and I both run lefty parks. So I didn't want to have to trot out a Pedro or a Walter or a Maddox facing 7 or 8 lefties and have the park factors eventually be enough to break any one of them. I wanted to try to throw as many lefties as I could, and my Glavine and my Spawn were tired from the series before. so I couldn't go to them. So I was pretty urgently wanting to get Pettit on the team, and luckily it worked out. Fury asking when the good teams are going to start winning Perfect League again. I don't know, man. You need to get here and win it yourself. That's when it will happen. Them are the sloths. Not this week. Should have our sim any minute now. But yeah, I'm excited to go into next season with these 3 lefties in my arsenal. Depending on where the game's being played and what my opponent's lineup looks like, I imagine all 3 of them are going to get a healthy amount of starts. As will Maddox, Pedro, and Walter. Yeah, Max in the chat asking if anyone's coming up from Diamond. We asked earlier, but I think we've got more viewers now. Do we have any Diamond people who have won their league heading up to Perfect League next week? Anybody on their way up to make a name? See if they can pull down a Perfect League trophy. Texalt's coming. The Boston Stanzas are coming. Stanzas beat the Albas. My buddies are in that league. The Texas Arrows, who is TexCal22, I think he lost in 7 to the Albas in the championship series. I was hoping that they'd make it through. Yeah, Maxfire with a good point. You know, the first thing that everyone does in the Perfect League is see who's in their division the following morning, and if there's any unfamiliar names, you check out their rosters. And you pray that you bump into 1 or 2 that doesn't have toppers. Hey, who won DLL? I think Beatdown was facing someone. I don't know who Beatdown was facing. Oh, wait, there were 2 DLL leagues this week. So we got Roscoe winning one of them. Who won the other one? Did Beatdown... Oh, Beatdown did win. That's awesome. So that means 3 DLL teams in Perfect next week. That's great. Three DLL teams in Perfect. I can't remember what our high water mark. I want to say it was maybe 5 or so. So far, the Mickey shirt has paid dividends. Although I'm probably pitting out. We'll take a quick peek at the Perfect League leaders so you guys can see what cards are doing the most damage at the highest levels. It'll be no surprise to see some Cobbs and Hornsbys and Gwynns. These are the cards that win games. Brace yourself asking if I think it's a long sim. Yeah, I think it's quite likely to be a long sim, given that we're 24 minutes in on it and still waiting for it to come back. Yeah, Topeka's Cobb with 39 dingers. Take a look at this one. Led the league in runs and in dingers. 921 OPS, 5.7 WAR before adjustment. Just one shy of 40-40, which I'm sure is a pretty juicy perfect point achievement. Yeah, I'm sure there's likely a way I can sleuth this, but I don't want to spoil it myself. I want to see it in live time. I want to see the highlights of it. And I'm not going to count any chickens until I've seen them hatch. We've got a sim. Let's go. Game 5 in Naperville. Happiest town on earth. Let's see what happened. Hawks View at Naperville, Game 5. Did we get Hawks View's Pedro? That was one thing I was curious about, but we won't find out quite yet. We're going to start the game with Pettit versus Gwynn. 60-degree, beautiful day here in the Nape. And Gwynn with a little dinker. Pettit fields, throws to first in time. Start the game off with a 1-3 putout. We go bottom 2, and we did not get Pedro in this game. We got Spawn. Can definitely understand the decision. Spawn versus Speaker here in the second. Spawn winds and delivers. That ball belted! Deep right field! Get out of town! Tris Speaker plays long ball. Make it 1-0 Naperville here in the second. Love to see it. We'll play some fireworks after that. Love the dinger. Back to Pettit here in the 5th. Working on a shutout, but he gives up a deep fly ball to Griffey. Will it carry? And it will. Game-tying home run from Ken Griffey Jr. off Pettit. Griffey not known for his work versus lefties, but he ties the game there. And Pettit here, still in trouble here in the 5th. Facing Robin Yount with Joe Mauer on first base with one away. That ball's crushed to right. Will it go? It will! Another home run, this time by Robin Yount. And this time giving the Valley Cats a 3-1 lead. Pettit cannot get out of this 5th. A nightmare inning. And he's now got to get through Tony Gwynn with Ozzie Smith on first. The pitch. Lines it down the right field line all the way into the corner. Smith heading to second. He'll go to third. Will he stop there? No, he's gonna go home. And he's going to score. And Gwynn in at third with a sliding triple. Make it 4-1. Naperville has their work cut out for them. And they'll try to get to work here in the 5th with Speaker on first, nobody out, and Campanella at the plate. 2-1. That ball belted! Deep right field! Get up! Get up! Get up and get out, Roy Campanella. 4-3. Naperville not throwing in the towel yet, and we're still in the 5th. Spawn's going to have to get through Roger Connor. 1-0 count, the pitch. That ball crushed. Deep center, it's going to get down and go to the wall. Connor on his way to second. He'll stop it too with a double. Naperville trying to get back in this game. Spawn now faces an Ozzie Smith with nobody out and a man on second. Lines it into left field, a base hit. Connor heads to third. He's going to try to score, and he will without a throw. 4-4, brand new ball game here in the 5th. We go to the 6th. Naperville back in the field, facing the same Ken Griffey that's already homered off Pettit once this game. 2-1 count, the pitch. Little looper, right center, no one's going to get there. And that's a leadoff single for Ken Griffey Jr. Next batter, Willie Mays. Pettit has not been clean. You have to think the bullpen is getting warm at this point. 1-0 on Mays, the pitch. Little looper, right field. Gwynn over. He'll make the grab. Runner will hold. Next batter, Joe Mauer. 1-1 count. The pitch. Grounder up the middle. Fielded by Ozzy. To second for one. Oh, and a first. Double play. 6th inning over. We go bottom 7. Tris Speaker to the plate. Speaker's had some clutch moments. He hit that huge homer off Eddie Plank a couple games ago. Does he have some more heroics in him here in Game 5 against Warren Spahn? 2-1 count. The pitch. Loops it into right field. That's going to be a leadoff single. Up next, Roy Campanella. Campanella, take a look over here on the right side of your screen. He's ditched the snowflake. He's no longer icy. He's got a dinger in this game. Full count from Spahn. The pitch. Grounder to third, fielded. No play at second because the runner was in motion. Campanella retired at first. 1 away now for Roger Connor. He also homered left versus left against Plank a couple games to go. 0-1 count on him. The pitch. Grounder to second. Oh, there's a throwing error. Gets past the first baseman. Runner's going to score. And Naperville takes the lead 5-4. It gets past Hornsby. Yount had it slip out of his hand. Sounds like that's going to be an E5 on Yount. The same Yount who hit a 2-run homer earlier in this game. And that error proves to be extremely costly. Instead of a tie game and a runner on third and 2 away, it's now 5-4 Naperville with Hornsby at the plate looking to do some more damage. Hornsby versus Hoffman. The pitch. Looper up the middle base hit. That's going to score another run. Make it 6-4 Naperville. We go top 9. Fans on their feet. 1 out away from delivering 8 inches of plastic to none other than the DRC. Yeah, that's a third person reference. And it's Joe Mauer at the plate. Hoffman v. Mauer. Everything on the line. You got to use the matchup analyzer. If you're not going to use it here, why even have it? Why even have it? Joe Mauer versus Wright. Trevor Hoffman versus left. Pretty neutral matchup there. Hoffman to Mauer. The wind. The pitch. Grounder to second. Fielded. Over to first. The Naperville Nomads have won the World Series. The Naperville Nomads have won the World Series. They did it. A 4-1 series win over the Hawks View Valley Cats. Fireworks. Fireworks and cheers. And a sold Dick Groat card for $29.01. Look at that. I've never seen a prettier picture than that right there. Never seen something prettier. Golly, that's so awesome. Call out the National Guard to Naperville. Cars will be flipped. Buildings will be burned. We will not be able to contain our excitement as your Naperville Nomads. Nomad Nation, as I love to call you, and as no one has ever asked to be called. Nomad Nation prevails and wins in 5 games over the Valley Cats. This is just the coolest thing. I can't stop smiling. Someone protect the Fox Valley Mall. What an awesome series from my perspective for sure. Luke, thanks for the love, buddy. Thanks for all the help with the Bronze World way back when. It's about time we get back on some more Bronze tourney meta. Man, this is so cool. And to do it with all you guys only makes it even more cool. What a series. What a playoff run. I'm I'm glad for how it worked too. I've got a ton of respect for some of the teams that I had to go through. I mean, you beat the Time Lords, then you've done something right. Unless you just got really lucky, which I'm not dismissing that latter as being the case. Whew. All right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to go take a cold shower to cool down from this one. Right before I get to Snaggle J and actually interview him tonight for the interview that will be aired tomorrow on the rescheduled Reading Between the Lineups. So do make sure you check out this channel 10 p.m. Eastern tomorrow night when I will be airing my interview with Chris Jardine. I've got more questions for Chris than I had for any other interviewee so far. I only hope that he has the patience to deal with all of them. But it should be a good time. I think that the nature of the subject matters we're going to get into will be of interest to everyone, so definitely check that out. But with that, you know what? Let's, just for decorum here, let's not forget the thing we always forget. Boom. Give the Naperville Nomads Game 5. But with that, that will conclude your coverage of the 2051 Perfect League World Series. Thanks for joining us, and good luck to all of you in the season to come. I look forward to playing with those that are on their way up to Perfect League. But for now, DRC out.